we have some more new cards. A new archetype. The past returns to haunt you with Memento, which I believe this archetype is just very old cards, but retrained into an archetype. Which is kind of the whole thing of this archetype, is that they are old vanillas retrained into some new stuff, which is cool. I was able to figure out which these... I've seen pictures of these cards before. I was able to figure out what they were based on for all of these ones, but I was not sure what the main monster was. Like, the big dude was based on. Is that a completely new thing? Because I couldn't figure out what this one was based on. Oh, he's just completely new. Okay, then I spent like a solid... I spent a solid like 2 or 3 minutes thinking about what this thing was based on, for no reason. Okay, appreciate that. Memento Tecuhtlica, the Nether Skull Dragon, level 11 Earth Worm, 5k. He big. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from hand or graveyard by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand and or grave into the deck or extra deck. If you control no other monsters, this card can attack all opponent's monsters once each. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon a Memento monster from your hand or graveyard. Okay. I mean, on one hand, it depends on the archetype. This could be either very easy to summon or very hard to summon, depending on whether the other cards have something to do with dumping stuff in the graveyard. We'll see. Level 8 Dark Dragon effect. Memento Horn Dragon. So this is based on Tri-Horn Dragon. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. If you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so kind of like... should be relatively easy to summon, but obviously requires other starters. If this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, you can target 3 face-up cards on the field, including at least a Memento card you control, destroy them. This does not seem that great to me, unless it has crazy synergy with the rest of the archetype. But, yeah. It's like removal, but not really, because, like, you never get to this point when your opponent has any relevant cards on the board. Doesn't even trigger when it's destroyed by battle, so you can't, like, crash to clear the board. Nah. Memento Tatsuno toshigo, which is like that weird vanilla horse. Half horse, half fish, or whatever it's. Level 5 Earth Beast. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control no face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. This means you need to control a Memento, right? Or can you just control nothing? Wait, no, nothing works, right? It works if you have nothing, right? No monsters, it works. Yeah, okay, never mind. I misread this. Okay. Papa Gregorio Settimo, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the support. Okay, so you can just summon this. During your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster you control, and if you do, send any number of Memento monsters with different names whose total levels are equal to or lower than the destroyed monster's original level from your deck to the graveyard. Okay. This is an interesting card because you can just special summon it and then destroy itself, and then you can foolish Memento monsters up to level 5. Which is interesting. Right? You can pop itself. Depending on what the others are. Like, if the others have interesting graveyard effects, we'll see. Memento Fair Witch, which is based on, I think, Fairy Witch, or whatever it's called, the vanilla. Level 3 Dark Spellcaster. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is normal or specialed, you can add a Memento from deck to hand, except Fair Witch. Okay, good. You can target a level 2 or lower Memento monster in your grave, destroy a Memento you control, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster. Okay. This seems like this is going somewhere. You know, you normal summon this, search the horse, special summon the horse, You can destroy the horse to send whatever, and then you can reborn whatever you want. Nah, you're kind of getting places. All right. Idea can summon this from deck. Oh, right. No, it has Squire stats. 800, 1000. It has Squire stats. That's funny. Memento Mace. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During your opponent's main phase, if you control the big dragon, you can discard this card, target a monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase. That's powerful disruption. That's a powerful hand trap if you have the dragon on board. I don't know how feasible it is. I'm not sure how feasible it would be, you know, but during your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster you control, and if you do, add a Memento card from your deck to your hand, except Memento Mace. And then Memento Goblin. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. During the main phase, control Memento. You can discard this card. Your opponent cannot target Memento monsters with card effects this turn. During your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster you control, and if you do, send up to 2 Memento cards with different names from each other from your deck to the grave, except Memento Goblin. Okay. Alright. Unfortunately, none of them have graveyard effects. So it's not like the horse milling them all to the graveyard does anything. Right? Milling them all doesn't really do much for it, which is kind of whack. There's a field spell though, which is always scary. If you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If your Memento monster battles, your opponent cannot activate spell and trap cards until the end of the damage step. If a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of them, special summon a Memento monster with a lower level from your hand or graveyard. Once per turn, during your end phase, you can target a Memento spell trap in your grave, set it. Okay, so this card does not at all boost consistency, but it is probably a combo, like a combo enabler in some way, shape, or form, but it's not great. Memento Bone Party. Quick play. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Destroy a Memento monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, take a Memento monster with a different name from your deck, and either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense position. Oh, that's good. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a Memento you control. If it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Okay, that's not that great, it's just a small bonus, but the first effect is nice. The first effect is nice, right? It's emergency teleport with a cost attached, which I think is a fair thing to do. I think everyone who's played against Punk could agree that emergency teleport should probably have a cost attached to it and could still be a good card. The thing is, yes, if you're gonna base your strategy around the 5k dude that can attack all of your opponent's monsters, giving it piercing could actually be relevant in that case, right? Memento Bone Back. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If a face-up Memento leaves the field by your opponent, special summon a from hand or deck ignoring its summoning condition. The big dragon. Okay. That's not very easy to make sure. You can crash. Does that count? Yeah, it counts, right? If you crash, that counts. I feel like. I'm pretty sure it does. If your opponent moves a Memento monster out of your graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon as many Memento monsters with different names as possible from your hand or deck. Okay, this will never happen. This will never happen. Like, okay, if this ever happens, you probably win. It's just that this card basically reads, this card basically reads, while this card is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot touch your mementos in the graveyard. Right? It's just basically your opponent is gonna be like, if you're ever gonna play this card, it would be for the first effect, which I'm not sure you would. I am not sure you would. If you would ever use this card, it would be for the first effect, and then it's gonna chill in the graveyard and stop your opponent from ever removing your stuff from the grave. Like, for example, let's say you go for, what is it? This one to revive one from the graveyard, and your opponent wants to bestial it, but then you have the other card in the grave, so they can't, obviously. So they won't do it, right? So, no, this one. That's what this does, right? It can be used for that matter. All right, and then we have trap cards. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control a memento monster, target a card on the field, destroy it. Then if you control Nether Skull, you can destroy one more card. Okay, so it just pops 2 cards if you have the big dude. When an attack is declared involving your memento monster and an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from the grave. All face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. Okay. We've got our own kind of... our own Sword Soul Blackout Icarus attack kind of thing. We don't lose our monster, which is good. And then... we have a little bit of a bonus here. So this card is solid. But I'm not sure if... I'm not even sure if you're going to play this deck going first. So far, the only really sick thing that I see here that you can do with this is like the big dude. Right? The big dude is like the only thing that stands out. Everything else here is just engine. It doesn't actually contribute to winning the game. You know what I mean? Like, they all have kind of neat effects, right? They all have neat effects, but what are they like? They're not contributing to you winning the game. So it would feel like you would have to base it around this guy. No, not this guy, this guy. So what you need to do is like go second and try to OTK, right? Attack all your opponent's monsters with 5,000 and maybe inflict piercing on all the defense position stuff. Maybe something like that. So I'm not sure if trap cards have... I'm not sure if trap cards have a space in that type of strategy. And then we have Memento Cranium Burst. Continuous trap. You can only activate the second effect once per chain. Your opponent's monsters must attack the Memento monster you control with the highest attack, if able, while you control any. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can target a Tecuhtlica Nether Skull Dragon you control. It loses 1,000 attack, and if it does, negate that effect. Okay, that's kind of cool. It turns your 5,000 dragon into a light and darkness dragon type of thingy. That's kind of interesting, you know. It's kind of, or like Appaloosa is probably a better comparison. Yeah, it turns it into Appaloosa. But it's not that great. I think it's not that great. Yeah, I don't know what to think of this. I'm sure you can fill up the graveyard and set up the 5k dude relatively easily. There's probably like 1 or 2 card combos here that get there, because you can like, I don't know, send all of them to the graveyard with the horse and then revive one with witch and then use this to foolish some stuff. I don't know. Fair Witch does it? Yeah, okay. So you go normal summon Fair Witch, you add the horse, right? And then you special summon the horse. And then you destroy itself to send another Fair Witch, a Mace, and a Goblin to the graveyard, which is 4 in the grave. And then you go Fair Witch on itself. You special summon Mace. And then you go Mace on itself. And you add the big dragon. And then you can summon the big dragon, because you have 5 in the graveyard, right? You have a horse, you have 2 witches, and you have the 2 level 1s. Right? So the witch is a 1-card combo to the Nether Skull Dragon. However, wait, Goblin, Dump, Horned, and Big Guy? Oh, because you can summon it from the graveyard too. Yeah, that's better. No, you're right. That's better. I forgot that you can summon it from the graveyard. It's the same thing, though. It's the same thing. Oh, because you need different names, you actually have to do it this way. You actually have to do it that way because it needs different names. You can't banish 2 of the witch. You need the... That makes it a lot worse because that at this point in time, that means you even have to play this dude, which I'm not even sure you want to. I'm not sure you want to play this dude. I'm actually pretty positive you wouldn't want to, but... But then again, what the hell does it do? Yeah, you know, like, it's just like you 1-card combo into a 5k monster, okay, but you have to play like a million Memento monsters in your deck for that, and you get a 5k beat stick? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced by that strategy yet.